Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we have a bit of a longer video than my normal ones that I've been posting. Today you're actually going to get to see an illustration from the book that I'm working on with the tentative title, Monster Under the Bed. And you can see right here that it kind of started out a mess. I've got collars everywhere and it's real sloppy. You can probably make out my line drawing a little bit in there. I've got it, the opacity turned way down. And I'm playing with collars and I want it to be, my goal was to have something that was more of an impressionism type of painting. That I wanted to be fairly sloppy and fairly loose. But as you'll see over the course of time, I tend to really try to, I don't know what's the word for it, to make everything very clear. I have a hard time with impressionism. One thing I am happy with is the amount of colors that I have in here, and I start out kind of slow working everything up. Which eventually leads to more saturated colors towards the end, but nothing too crazy. And it takes me a while to kind of figure out exactly what I'm going to go for. And you can see there, I accidentally left my computer and came back and forgot to hit record. And you can see I got like a little bit of a splotchy lighting up above my character, which I eventually get rid of. I actually really liked it. I liked the idea, and I thought it looked good towards the end. But I asked my kids what they thought, and they liked it better without the lights up there. So I trusted my kids and went with their instinct on this one, even though I actually did prefer it. I mean, honestly, I could go either way. But you see here that I'm just trying to add a bunch of different colors, and they're all really grayed down. If you look up at the top right, you'll see my color selector, and you'll notice that most of my colors are very close to the left side. I don't think I have anything that gets fully to the halfway point of saturation, at least not at this point in time. It gets pretty close, but for the most part, you'll see me right in that left side of the little box there. And I'm just going through. Some of these things weren't planned, like this towel that I'm coloring in right now. I actually hadn't planned on putting that in there. It wasn't part of my original line drawing, but I'm really just trying to explore and do some different stuff and see what seems interesting. Because obviously we have a bathroom scene here. Our protagonist is getting ready for bed, and has just gotten out of the shower, and he's currently brushing his little teeth. And you know how kids are, they make quite a bit of a mess, so I tried to incorporate that in a fun way. At least my kids do. I don't know about everybody's kids, but boy, my kids sure do love to make a mess. And you notice in everything in there, like right now, I have like just a bunch of different colors, and for no rhyme or reason, really. Because I mean, like say that little stool or stand that he's on right now, it's got multiple different colors in it. It just like I don't I'm not sure how that would apply in real life, unless it was like a wooden one that has some wear and tear and all that kind of stuff on it. Honestly, I'm just trying to get the values right for the most part. And you'll see, I start tightening up this image quite a bit over a period of time. This is the reason this video is so long, is this was actually I think about 7 to 8 hours worth of painting, because I was having a hard time trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to go with, really. I didn't start this with a very good plan or process already in mind, and it makes a big difference when you're trying to make an illustration, you know. And this is going to be for my children's book, so I wanted to put enough time into it to where I was happy with how it looked. And I think as I continue to work more and more, I will find ways to make things sloppy while still making them look good, if that makes any sense. I don't want to define everything as clearly as I think I eventually end up doing. You saw there, I switched to a black and white real quick just so I could see how my values were looking. And I think I decided to tighten up the water on the floor a little bit. And you see all those collars in there. I don't know. I just want my images to have all sorts of collars in them, and make sense, and look good. It's not easy to do, at least not for me, But it's something I'm working towards. At least that's what my goal is right now, because I absolutely love seeing other artists that have just tons of collars, even ones that don't make sense. There's just something extremely interesting to those kinds of images to me. And at the end of the day, I don't even care if I'm successful, I mean, it would be nice, don't get me wrong, but my main goal is to convey my ideas and to do them in a way that I think is fun and interesting. And that's really what I'm trying to do. And I notice as I'm working through here, like when I just had like splotches of paint, you could clearly see the brush strokes and stuff. Everything looked pretty good. But as I work it more and more, you'll start to see that, at least to me, it starts to look kind of muddy. And when an image starts looking muddy, it doesn't look good. And what I mean by muddy is when you start kind of mixing all of your colors together and they start to veer away from like their intended purpose, their intended color and saturation, which, I mean, saturation right now isn't that big of a deal to me. You can see I'm still staying a little bit under the halfway mark as far as saturation goes, but here and there I am bumping up the saturation just a little bit. And look at the boy right now. See all those colors in him? You got grayish purples and blues and pinks and browns and oranges and all sorts of colors in there, and I want that. I want to keep that stuff in there. As far as the boy goes, I think I keep a lot of that in him. I don't refine him too much because I do like the current color scheme I have going on with him. And I'm just kind of moving around. There you saw me checking my values again, changing everything to black and white, which I do in Krita. I'll just take a layer and completely fill it in with black, and then I'll go up to, if you see there where my layers are, if you go up top, it's labeled normal right now. I will switch that to color for my black layer. Fill that in with black and switch it to color, and then whenever you turn it on, everything underneath it will be in black and white, which is extremely helpful for when you want to see your values. And now, you haven't really seen my line work too well just yet. You'll see it more throughout the image, but I originally drew this quite a long while ago, and I was going to do it traditionally, and I really liked the line work that I had done, and I eventually stick with it. See, there you can see a lot of the line work there. There's just something I fell in love with, like these little hash marks and stuff, to help with form and whatnot, which would have been a lot more useful with like watercolor and stuff like that. But I liked it, and I actually took my original line work images and copied them using my printer into Photoshop. And I don't know if you'll see, maybe sometime down the line you'll see, I put that into Photoshop. I obviously had to clean up a bunch of, I had to delete all the white in my inking, and I had to delete a lot of the white and go through and kind of refine the line art. And then I just, on that layer, it's a top layer, and I switched it to multiply, so the lines always show up properly. And you'll see here, like, I'm really just playing around. I'm still wanting all those collars and just interest, so the boy looks, to me, so he looks more interesting. Worked on a little bounce light there on the back of his hair, trying to show a transition from cool to warm, because obviously my light up above the boy is more of a warm light, and the rest of the room is fairly cool colors for a bathroom. I don't know what you guys' bathroom looks like, but my bathroom is actually a really warm. I have a lot of wood and stuff in my bathroom, but for this one, I wanted him to be the warmest object in the room, so he got the most attention. And I'll add other little warm highlights like I did on the sink, and I'm doing with the bubbles from his toothpaste and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just slowly working through here, just trying to figure things out. This is actually the hardest image because it's the first image that I've worked on in Photoshop, developing the colors and kind of the approach that I wanted to take towards coloring him in and illustrating it. It's by far the hardest one when you have a series of paintings and you need them all to look similar or at least cohesive. You have to make a lot of decisions during this beginning illustration. Unless it's something you've been doing for quite a while, then I'm sure you already have a routine, or you just naturally go into a certain flow of work and you maintain that throughout the image. Like I said, in some recent videos, I've just started getting back into art. I took quite a long sabbatical from art, dealing with real life stuff, and I realized I missed it quite a bit, and it's something that I really enjoy, and I hope that my skills dramatically improve, and I will plateau at some point, and I'll have to do other things to boost my skills up. You see I'm working on that floor, trying to decide how dark I want the corners and stuff to be. Like if I'm wanting to do an effect where the actual edges of the image are darker to force your eye towards the center, or if I just want to color it in and just have fun. You see I added some clothes for interest. Those socks are actually important to the story, and I'm not going to give anything away, but you'll see them repeated throughout the process and throughout the video, or throughout subsequent videos. I'm not sure how many of these I will be showing. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention here, he looks a little whiter. As I was recording, I messed up some setting. I'm not sure exactly what it is because I'm not a professional YouTuber or recorder. But he looks stretched. The image is wider than it actually should be, and at some point here, it'll snap back to its original size. It's not that noticeable, and it's really not that incredibly important for this video. But I just want you guys to be aware of it, that it did happen. I didn't actually do that on purpose. Like I didn't change my image to make everything wider. But here you see me adding some shadows and stuff to the toothbrush, and I'm adding pinks and blues, and I've already got my yellows and oranges and stuff in the boy, and I'll just continue to, and I got splotchy little paint patterns here and there that I don't want to completely brush out, but I think to some degree they get brushed out here or later on. Like sometimes in frustration I just make big changes because something's just not working right, it's not feeling right. Like right here I just changed the collar scheme of that little stepladder thing that he's on, just playing around with it, checking it. I'll put something on a new layer when I would make drastic changes usually. And I was wanting to make that hamper back there kind of a lighter color, but I thought it drew too much attention, so I had to like kind of gray it down and back it off a little bit. It's a tight wire and a balancing act as you're painting these images, because you want it all to be interesting and cool, but at the same time, you also, how do I put it? You also gotta keep certain things in mind. Some things are more important than others, and that's extremely important. Like your main character and stuff, I think should be more saturated and have more value shifts, like a wider range of value shifts than the rest of the image. And I just keep working it up. And you see I left that light in there for a long time. And you saw me there. I was just playing with some colors, trying to make it a little more saturated and a slight bit darker. I am kind of happy with that. You'll see the walls. I'm playing with those right now, trying to add like some wallpaper effects. And I eventually come up with this idea. I wanted something like that back curtain was just the shower curtain was just too plain. So I decided to repeat a pattern. And I really like this in a lot of illustrations where certain motifs and patterns are repeated. Obviously, you'll see me change this. The duck size was too close to the duck size of the rubber ducky on the floor because that's where I got the shape from. So you'll see me shrinking that down. All I did was duplicated layers and then merged them together, and now I'm painting out the areas where the little ducky shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm just most of the time, especially with this image being the first image, it took me so much longer than all the rest of these images have. I've got several recorded so far, and like I said, I'm not sure how many I'm actually going to upload. Here I am still playing with that light up above that I eventually get rid of. There we go. The image just snapped back to its normal size. It's right now it's 9 inches by 11.5 inches, which leaves, if I ever print this, that gives me a 1/4 inch bleed around the image for. Oh, you see that what I just did to the tiles there? I really liked it. Not this little heart thing I was doing. I was just playing with the texture. But I wish I had left that. I actually really liked that. Instead, I went with more of this marble kind of linoleum look. But I really liked the swirls that I had. But yeah, I'm just trying to, and since it is like kind of a shiny linoleum, I just did like a reflection of the stool on the floor and of the boy, like his towel there. I'm doing a drastic change here. It just felt too dark to me, and I'm playing around, trying to figure out something else, but nothing that I'm doing is quite working, and it's too bright, and I think it takes away from the boy. Because I want the bathroom is going to be kind of like a blue-white kind of bathroom. I think that's fairly typical. You see, I just discarded that major color change. It just, something about it wasn't appealing to me. So I had to change that. And you'll notice I'm doing some more like wallpaper type stuff here. I don't fully go with that. I eventually paint all over these walls, I think. I don't know. It was 7 hours is a long time to keep track of. Here, you see me adding these collars. Like I was like, come on, I gotta get more collars in here. I can do this, And I think I just end up taking that out too. I'm not sure. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna discard that too. I'm not 100%. Or I keep it. I don't know. This is an adventure for both of us right now. I'm just playing with the floor, like trying to add the highlights to, further emphasize that it's linoleum, but I thought it was too much. So I went back through and erased some of it. I play with it some more. Playing with these shadows. Like I was having a rough time with the shadow from the sink here. I think I eventually lightened it up. It was just too dark for me. You see me flipping the image here a lot because I'm dealing with some stuff that I'm having a hard time with. And I'm using my selection tool here because I've decided I don't like the shower curtain. It's not terrible, but it's just not, I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite right. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to play around, switch colors. And I'm doing this on a different layer. That way I'm not ruining my image. I think I'm getting close to what I like because I want it to be in the background, but at the same time, I want it to still be appealing, I'm going to go through here and kind of delete out the stuff that I don't like. I want to leave my selection so I don't have to worry about painting over the boy or the rest of the bathroom. Adding just some textures, try to make things more interesting as far as the shower curtain goes. I kind of like what I got going on back there. You know how some shower curtains have kind of like a texture to them, and that's kind of what I'm playing around with right now. And the way that I'm doing this at the moment is kind of like that halo effect around a character. And you notice I started dark and I went light on top. Because this is way less messy than it was And how messy it was just driving me nuts. Like I couldn't take it. That's something I'm really gonna have to work with. And I think the most important thing is I'm gonna have to check out other artists and see how they pull it off. Because there's a lot of traditional artists that they have a lot of like just brush work that's just brushes and not a whole lot of blending, and it just looks beautiful. And I wanted to get something closer to that. I want it to be my own style, but uh, I just want more brush work. And it's hard when you're working with digital because it's so easy to just keep working the image and working the image until you lose like all your brush work. Here I'm going through and I'm actually using a distort tool. You can hit Control T and it brings up your transform tool. And I was just kind of warping the ducks because obviously there's folds and wrinkles in the shower curtain, and they wouldn't all be perfect. So I'm trying to imply that and adding some highlights to where the shower curtain kind of comes out, and then making it a little bit darker where the ducts kind of recede into those folds. And I'm really starting to like where it's going now. I'm pretty happy with it. It feels fun and it's colorful. I got some neat textures back there in the shower. I'm playing with the opacity of my ducks because I don't want them sticking out too much. Working on his little socks right here. Little pair of underwear back there. And then here I am playing with the whole wallpaper thing again. And I'm doing it this way specifically because in a later image, the boy has kind of a wallpaper like that. And once again, I like the repeating stuff. There we go. I told you I'd get to that shadow. It was too dark for me. I didn't like it. It was drawing too much attention. Just too dark. The value just didn't feel right. And I probably checked that a few times. I was going to make that all the same purple, but I was like, no, it'd be a different color on the water. It wouldn't be the exact same thing. Here I'm working on the reflected floor again. Working on shadows. I'm starting to get down to more nitty gritty details. And look at that rug back there. Look at all the colors that are in that. But at a distance, you perceive it as like a yellowy, orangey color. Still working on that shadow on the wall. I don't know why I was having such a problem with that. It was just driving me nuts. Here I am working on the porcelain sink here, trying to reflect some colors and make it interesting as well. I'm really liking like the green type color there, and that carries over into some other images that I'm working on. I don't know why. It really appealed to me, and I just ran with it. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I did like it, so I stuck with it. Adding a little bit of trim and stuff in here to the floor. I hope I didn't skip around too much. I tend to lose portions of my recordings because I forget to hit the record after I take a little break. And I do apologize for that. See how brushy that bathtub is? I really like how brushy that is. I need to figure out a way to maintain that more throughout my images. Like that and the towel. Speaking of the towel, I still haven't done line work around that, which I will here eventually. Trying to play with that reflected floor again. Just trying to smooth out the face a bit, make it a little more realistic. Playing with shadows for the suds and trying to define all that a bit more, a bit better. I was working on some reflected light there on his lower cheek, but I decided not to go for it. I backed off of that thought and just kind of working my way around the image again, glancing around, trying to define the edges of that shower curtain. I'm going through a lot of thinking here. I finally put in the line work for that towel to bring it into the rest of the image since I do have lines around everything. And I did fix that towel at one point. The angle was off on it. It looked a little weird. Checking my values again. I'm liking my values. And there I go playing with that light above him again. Here I am just adding some extra stuff. Whoop. And there goes a plunger. Put that in there. Because who knows, he was probably playing around with it. You know how kids are. And then I wanted to add some more stuff, so I decided to add a little bit of toilet paper in here on the floor. I don't know about you guys, but man, for some reason my kids are always leaving toilet paper all over the floor. It drives me nuts. I don't understand it. Just slowly working this up. And it's another device to help kind of lead the eye to the character. You'll see it flows and kind of points upwards towards the little boy. I want, he's the main part of my image, so I try to get everything kind of leading back to him. And I add some other little things here and there, just for interest. I'm not sure if I got it in there or not, but I add a little character to all my images, and you'll possibly see him here soon. I'm not quite sure if you'll notice him or not, but he'll be in the final image here. And just other little details. I had a lot of fun doing this. It was very experimental for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. I like where I was going with some of the stuff. I just need to work out how to do it a little bit better. But if there's anything you guys liked about this, have any questions, or just want to leave a comment, I'd appreciate it. But for now, take care. Bye-bye.